Greetings ladies and gents, and welcome to today's Reddit Quickie video, taken from the HFY subreddit called The Third Way, written by T. Marcus. A link to the original will be down below, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. A blinding flare of light went up from the station ahead, forcing the bridge crew to shield their eyes. Damn it! Liam spat, blinking away after images to scan his console. It's no good. The station is coming apart. We've got debris incoming. It was a mark of Kai's professionalism that she did little more than nod in acknowledgement before racing back to her station, hurriedly realigning the thrusters so that they could dodge the incoming debris. Threads of fire wrapped around shattered girders as secondary explosions rippled through the station hanging in front of them, spiraling doomed into its host planet's gravity well. 10,000 people, Liam thought. He could do nothing. He squeezed his fist tight enough that it hurt before forcing himself to turn away. Chun! Vector, he barked. 1 minute, came the hurried reply. The lean helmsman was bleeding from a cut over his scalp, and the blood dripped freely onto the navigation console, smearing over the screen when his fingers touched it. Local space got real crowded just now. The computer is having a frickin' conniption. 60 seconds, I'm gonna hold you to it, Liam snapped back. We're already way too close to the pre-plume. Small pieces of blackened metal were already racing past them in dangerous clip, some trailing remnants of tails of plasma in the wake. The space was becoming saturated with debris. It was only a matter of time before a collision was a near certainty, and they'd probably catch a piece of well before that, he thought darkly. They needed to be gone yesterday. Cap, red trace, Kai sang out. Got a big fricker coming in, ETA 50 seconds. She flipped her screen around so that they could see the velocity track drawn in the scarlet on her monitor to intersect their course. Chun, give me a course, Liam roared, racing to free up the power of their burn. Kai, throttle, I want some fricking legs under us, now. They didn't reply, and for a span of seconds there was only eerie silence on the bridge as they worked their stations. Sir, Chun said, her voice cracking, if we dodged it, it hits the Rubicon. The color drained from Liam's face. The Rubicon was the last of the evacuating transports to escape the station, with at least 100 escapees aboard. It was less than half the complement of his own Xerxes. But the smaller ship was civilian slow and would never be able to avoid the projectile. If we stay, Liam asked, it misses. Chun nodded. It'll hit the reactor, so that should, he trailed off, leaving the rest unsaid. Scatter it, vaporize it, annihilate the ship and the crew to a man. Then we stay, Liam said softly. Sir! Kai shouted out, her face flushed. We can't scrap the Xerxes for a little boat. We've got to move. We swore an oath, Liam began, but Kai rushed over with burning eyes. Not for this, she snarled. I'm not gonna die for a handful of... You swore an oath, Liam bellowed, to protect the people on that ship. You killed twice as many by saving them, she retorted. Good men and women, we're running out of time. Chun, get us moving. Belay that, Liam snapped. Kai! She was already moving, her hand darting towards the service weapon. Liam cursed and reached for his own pistol, but he was too slow. He could see it in slow motion, her face contorted in anger and fear as she lifted the weapon, and a shot raced out and took her in the chest, sending her choking back to the deck in a spray of blood and steam. Liam snapped his head to look at Chun, ghost white and shaking as the pistol dropped from his hands. Frick, Cap, Chun whispered. Oh, frick. What did I do, Kai? You just saved the Rubicon, Liam said, though not quite keeping the shake out of his voice. You did good, Chun. Chun sank to his knees, staring at his hands while alarms blared around them. Cap, he said dazedly. Don't worry about it, Liam said tiredly. Just close your eyes. Chun did. As the tremor in Kai's screen ticked to 0, there was a blinding flare, and a light went up from the station ahead, forcing the bridge crew to shield their eyes. Damn it, Liam spat, blinking away after images to scan the console. It's no good. The station is coming apart. We've got debris incoming. His eyes seemed to blur as he watched Kai nod and move back to her station, desperately reconfiguring the ship's thrusters. Chun, he called out dazedly. Vector. 1 minute, Chun shouted. Local space got real crowded. Liam tuned him out, his head buzzing uncomfortably. What was wrong with him? He felt disoriented, detached, like he was watching himself through a hallway. 50 seconds minus, Kai yelled, flipping her screen around. We can't move, Liam croaked, drawing concerned looks from the others. If we move, it hits the Rubicon. You can't know that, sir, Kai retorted, stalking towards him. You can't throw away the Xerxes on a gut feeling like that. Kai, he's right, Chun interrupted. If we move, it hits them directly. So, she spat back, there's only a handful of people on board. You want to kill all of us for them. We swore an oath, Liam whispered. Kai's eyes narrowed and adrenaline flooded through him as he remembered. His hand dipped to his weapon. Faster. Still too slow, too slow. His shot took Kai in the stomach. Hers took him in the chest. They both fell on the deck as Chun began to scream. Darkness nibbled at vision of Chun's screams, grew muffled. A flare of light went up from the station ahead, and Liam stared at it with haunted eyes. He could still feel the blood of his hands. Hear the clap of the gunfire ringing in his ears. He had watched the three of them die for what seemed like an eternity. Crouching in the darkness, holding Chun's lifeless face in his hands as he had felt something inside of him stretch past the breaking point, and he could not bring himself to play the farce any longer. Cap! Kai shouted. Sir, we've got to go. I'm dead, Liam whispered. The ship was destroyed by the breeze. None of this is real. Chun got up from his station and turned to look Liam in the eye. Oh dear, he said worriedly. I think he's figured it out. Kai spun around and walked to stand beside Chun, her eyes examining Liam's confused expression. Well, she said wryly, he has now. What? Liam stammered, scarcely able to think. What is this? Chun sat down at Liam's console primly. Kind of a silly question, don't you think? He replied. I mean, you've been here right along with us the whole time. I should think that you would remember. I don't think that's the disconnect, Kai drawled, sitting on the console opposite from Chun. Temporals often confuse what with some of the other ones. Why and how a few others have figured it out yet. Liam looked between them helplessly, feeling clearer-headed, but finding that it wasn't doing him any favors. You aren't Chun and Kai, he said accusingly. Well, obviously not, Chun replied. They aren't the subject of discussion here, after all. They're just fulcrums and levers in the end. And I am, Liam asked hoarsely, the subject of discussion, I mean. Egotist, Kai chuckled. Not you, though. Not really. Just an interesting minute or so in the end of a rather dull life. Chun scoffed. Not even a minute, he tutted. But credit where credit is due, I suppose. You did manage to do something quite novel in the end. The increase of awareness was becoming a detriment to Liam, who found himself feeling woozy once more. What did I do? He asked faintly. Chun and Kai shared a look. You ignored everything, Chun said disgustedly. But, Kai chirped, you still die believing that you were justified. Yes, it was quite something, Chun said ruefully. You traded 223 lives for 100. Yours among the dead, might I add, Kai muttered. Indeed, Chun continued irritably. You sacrificed skill-trained individuals for a handful of assorted laborers. That was an odd choice. You sacrificed the men and women you'd grown to love like family, instead of strangers, Kai noted cheerfully. But we, Liam began, swore an oath. They both chorused together before Chun rolled his eyes. Yes, he said, we've certainly heard you say that a few times recently, but it is not like they were all willing to make the sacrifice, were they? Did not want to die, Kai sang, holding up her hand, along with 47 other members of your crew who did not have the option of personally murdering, by the way. They still swore an oath, Liam repeated, ignoring the pained expression. Was the captain. It was my responsibility, even if they abdicated theirs. Incredible, Chun said. Amazing, Kai agreed. His mind is balancing two whole contradictory interpretations of morality without hitting any snags. He even rationalized shooting me in pretty much every scenario. And did you know that they used to... Kai held her fingers up to form a circle and poke another finger through it, waggling her eyebrows suggestively. No! Chun gasped, clapping his hand over his mouth theatrically. I mean, yes, obviously knew. Stop! Liam shouted, drawing scathing looks from the others. You think I wanted this, he screamed. You think I wanted to kill my friends? Watch them die. They were my family. They were my life. And you killed them, Chun replied softly, for no gain. And you killed them, Kai repeated, against everything you held dear. And I would again, Liam rasped, glaring at them, because it was the right thing to do. And you two will stop dishonoring their memory with this sick game. There was a sigh, and the bridge of the Xerxes melted away around him. There was nothing left to see, at least not with eyes. But the nothingness was of two sides. The first was the order and law, strength and stagnation, the greatest good for the greatest number, and grand, lofty immutability. The second was dreams and needs, power and decay, the fulfillment of true ambitions, and the whirling dynamo that was life itself. Liam floated between them forever. There was no time. You know, this wager has really gotten out of hand, said Consistency. Agreed, replied Entropy. I think that we should call it a wash. Wager? Liam asked, finding some indignation even in this incorporeal plane. All this was a wager. Well, of course, said Eternity, sounding nettled. We had a disagreement over which way you'd lean in the end. So we decided to explore all the angles, as it were, explained Transience. Bet a sliver of our power on the outcome. I was sure you'd choose to save all those lives, or those skilled crewmen, sighed Adamant. I never thought that you'd toss aside your family like that, Entropy groused. You were supposed to pick a side, and instead you just decided arbitrarily that you were going to die. Liam heard a faint raspberry echo through the formless void. No fun. I decided, Liam said, trading off. They thought for another timeless eon, drifting in the line between. No, he said, his voice rippling through the fundament. I decided, I chose. What was that? Truth asked, sounding rather alarmed. You did something, Belief said accusingly. What did you do? I picked what was mine, Liam said. I may not have even an atom of what you two possess, but that speck of dust is my choice, and I claim it. I choose neither of your sides, he said, and his words stretched the barriers of reality. I choose my own. Well, that's preposterous, Order scoffed. Yeah, you can't just go not exist somewhere, Chaos sniffed. Go on, shoo. You're forgetting something, came the reply, and for the first time Duality felt something new, something creeping and something tickling along the boundless perimeter of their being. A distinction was made that had not existed, and where neither of them held sway, nothing new rose up from a non-existence to look at them. Existence gulped. I believe there was a wager, Humanity growled. Time to pay up. And that, my friends, is the end of this Reddit Quickie. I hope that you enjoyed. If you'd like to support this channel, there are numerous ways to do so, listed in the description down below. The easiest and best way would be to share this video and my channel as much as possible. I'll see you all in the next video, and I hope that you have a good one until then. Cheers.